We have been talking about Donald Trump's diminishing support from young voters now for several months. And it is clear that some of those young voters were duped into voting for Donald Trump by the manosphere, the Joe Rogans, the Andrew Taints, and others. Trump is suffering a massive loss of support from Gen Z voters, going from plus 10 approval a year ago to minus 32. That is a 42-point swing here. And this is before they've even done their taxes for 2025, by the way. Here's a report from CNN about this.
New this morning. What about the kids? Perhaps no group swung more in the 2024 election than younger voters. They were decisive in Donald Trump's win. We've got new data this morning on what they think now. With us now, CNN chief data analyst Harry Enton. There have been some pretty big shifts here.
Yeah, these guys are swingers. That's what we're talking about here. Take a look here. Generation Z. John liked that. Gen Z, party ID margin, Dems versus the GOP. In 2024, look at this. It was just a 6-point margin between the Democrats and Republicans. Democrats just led by 6 points. Very small. Remember, Donald Trump did very well for a Republican candidate amongst the youngest part of the electorate. But take a look here. 2025. Hello. A huge widening of the lead for Democrats among Generation Z, tripling their lead on party identification from 6 all the way up to 20. That was, in fact, the largest shift, considerably more so than any other group. Yes, there was a shift in the overall electorate, but this more than double the shift that we saw among the electorate at large towards the Democratic Party.
Okay, and we said it was decisive for Donald Trump. How have opinions shifted toward Donald Trump among this group?
Okay, so this, in some ways, you might say this, this doesn't necessarily apply to Donald Trump. It absolutely does apply to Donald Trump. I mean, he has just fallen off a cliff when it comes to Generation Z. Look at this. Donald Trump's net approval rating in February of 2025. John said it right. Wow.
This was actually a month into the administration.
This was a month into the administration. He was at plus 10 points on the net approval rating. He was on the right side of the ledger. Look at this. Falling off that cliff. That is a drop of 42 points to negative 32 points.
All right, so very, very keyed up there. I don't know if everybody loves this delivery, but the data is important here, which is that in early 2025, right after Trump was inaugurated, his net approval rating among Gen Z was positive. It was plus 10. This means more young people approved than disapproved by a margin of 10 percentage points. We go to January of 2026 now. Same polling group shows that his approval among Gen Z voters is minus 32, meaning that 32 percentage points more of Gen Z disapprove rather than approve. That is a 42% swing in a year. Think about how dramatic that is. Swings like this rarely happen ever in American politics, like on any issue among any group. Opinion changes slowly. It's a slow process. This is an outrageous swing. And other surveys more or less corroborate this. This under 30 cohort of voters has shifted dramatically away from Donald Trump. There's new independent polling, the Harvard Youth poll, all of them say the same thing. So let's contextualize it and talk about what it means and what happened. Back in the 2024 election, Trump narrowed the traditional Democratic advantage with young voters. And it surprised some analysts. His performance among Gen Z voters, especially Gen Z men, was surprisingly good. That has evaporated. And there's a few different reasons why. Number one, some of these voters were merely duped by the manosphere podcasters that they follow. And Rogan invited Trump on for an interview, endorsed Trump right at the point of the election. You had a bunch of these manosphere influencers who led their followers, who may not even be highly engaged with politics, into voting for Donald Trump. A lot of these voters didn't really know what the hell was going on. And now that the manosphere influencers have started to back away, Rogan referring to ICE as a Gestapo, Andrew Schultz saying this isn't what we voted for, all these different things. It's just the reversal as the manosphere push towards Trump has stopped. Number two, the economic realities. A lot of these Gen Z voters are dealing with the crushing costs of living, stagnant wages, student debt burden, fractured job market that's not going particularly well, and they are blaming the administration for it to a degree, as they should. On top of that, issues like climate change and reproductive rights and immigration policy have turned a lot of young people off of Trump's agenda. those issues don't play well with older voters, and that may be trickling down to a degree to younger voters as well. So this is a complete and total collapse. Now, the danger for Trump is that Gen Z isn't small. A lot of them don't vote at all, but it is not a small group of voters, especially as we go into 26 and 28, where statistically, as individuals age, they become more likely to vote. If that takes place and they are feeling energized to vote against this administration or threatened by this administration, that could be disaster, not for Trump. Trump's not running again, but for Republicans in 2026. And it could be exactly the boost that gives Democrats, it could be a 40, 50, or 60 seat swing in the House of Representatives. That is not a guarantee. I'm just telling you that this is possible. Now, there is an irony of this for Trump. Just last year, he was bragging about the incredible accomplishment that was winning over young voters like never before. He spun it as proof that the Republican appeal could be broadened. And now, instead of being able to brag about the support of young voters, he's had a 42-point reversal among young voters. So this is a strategic nightmare. The brand has been built on being a disruptor, outsider, someone who can expand the Republican base. And he did it in 2024. I mean, the numbers of young men who voted for Trump in 24 was a surprise. But now as they are starting to enter the workplace, they are turning away from Donald Trump. And the question for 26 and beyond is, can the arguably anomalous victory of Trump in 24 be sustained by future Republicans if they squander that Gen Z support that they had? Right now, the data suggests they can't win if they lose all of that Gen Z support. Disaster for them. And they're going to have to figure that out going into November.